Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the More Survivalists, and today I'm going to be talking about a topic that is important yet not often addressed in other survival and prepper channels because it's fairly unpopular, politically incorrect, I assume, but at the same time, I just cannot avoid doing it because I know how important it is. I know how some people may be misled into thinking otherwise. But the topic is not all veterans, not all military will be on your side. This is something you really need to understand, especially in the United States. There's this the popular culture of always looking up to anyone in uniform. This may end up costing you. Before I go on with the video though, I want to ask a small favor, if you don't mind. I know a lot of you guys are buying my books and enjoying them. That just makes my day. Street Survival Skills, the Modern Survival Manual, Surviving the Economic Collapse, and Bugging Out and Relocating is somewhere there over there. If you just have, less than 1 minute, drop by Amazon, leave a review. That would be hugely appreciated. Usually big publishing companies, before even the book is out, they have like 1,000 reviews, which goes against the guidelines of Amazon. You shouldn't be doing that sort of thing. But for us, small independent publishers, we rely on honest, real reviews from you folks. So if you just take a minute, that would mean a lot. Anyway, let's get to the video. Look, I have the images right here of what's going on, and it goes without saying. These are not Photoshop. This is actual real people, currently in the military. They're going for this, and I couldn't care less what people do in their private lives, how they dress, what is it doing in their privacy of their home, as long as it's not anything, anyway. The thing is, it's not just about dressing a certain way or certain life choices. This is being imposed as a political agenda. The wokeness of the military is very real. It's been going on for a very long time already, and it's reached this point where you're seeing this sort of thing going on. And this comes with a huge political baggage. It comes to a point where, as we heard, many officials, people highly ranked in different in the U.S. military intelligence community, saying that white conservatives are more of a threat than ISIS. This is being said not just once or twice, but several times over and over, so as to try to impose a certain line of thought. And as it says here, U.S. Defense Secretary opens to trans people in the military, and all of these people, believe me, they're not conservative, they're not pro-Second Amendment, they're not pro-you, most likely, and that is a problem. That is a problem because even if you don't want to pick sides, you're just forced into one side or the other, even if you just don't want to do that. And this is something I guess you learn over, I learned it after living for some time. Over the years, you learn stuff, and this is one of the things that I came to understand, that even if I don't want to get involved, like, I don't care about this stuff, I don't care what you do, but just leave me alone and let me live my life. Well, even if you don't pick a side, you're pushed and forced into one simply because you're not falling in line with the official narrative. When you're not falling in line with their side, then you are on the opposite side, and that can be very difficult for you. It's not just about this, it's also about stuff like this. Dan McCain 2.0 Crim Show attacks, it says, a heroic New Jersey gym owner who defied lockdowns for refusing to support Afghan refugee invasion. This is happening as well. It's not just, it's a it's a combination of things that you should understand and be careful about. I think it was last year, I was talking with Matt Bracken about this guy. I saw that he was a veteran Republican from Texas. I saw a couple short clips of some of the things he said, and I agreed with what he said. But Matt woke me up about this guy and said, look a bit deeper, because he is really a turncoat. And indeed he is. But if you're not well informed, if you don't do your homework, and you just assume things, you may end up paying for that mistake quite dearly. So be careful about it. It's stuff like this as well. The Black Rifle Coffee Company mess, where this is can the Black Rifle Coffee Company become the Starbucks of the right? Well, it's been worse. It's been worse than the Starbucks really for some time now. For those of you that are not aware, look it up. There's a huge, there was a previous mess before snake among us, says the title. Yes, well, definitely it is worse than what you would think, because, well, for those of you that don't know what I'm even talking about here regarding Black Rifle Coffee, last year, I think it was last year actually, that Hafer, some people realized that Hafer, the CEO of the company, was making donations for Hillary Clinton and other Democrat politicians, and all of that blew up, and people were, hey, I'm buying your overpriced, not so great coffee because I'm thinking I'm supporting like-minded conservative people. And at the end of the day, they made a statement where they said, we're pro-military, we're pro-vet, leaving for you to understand that they're not pro-Second Amendment, pro-you gun owner. Now, the betrayal, the backstabbing is because they definitely targeted for that pro-Second Amendment American patriotic gun owner, which is not the same as just saying military and vet. It's not the same. They were very happy with people making that assumption and thinking they were putting money in the pockets of like-minded people. And as things went on, it just kept on getting worse. They stopped. They were going to be going with a logo. I think it was like St. George, like slaying slaying a dragon, and someone made the comparison with George Floyd, so that was politically insensitive. So they stopped doing that because they don't want to. The owner and lots of people working there recently came out saying that they wish they could get rid of all the Proud Boyish type of customers, that they just don't want them. They don't want you as a customer if you're a Proud Boy. And then they went on and saying, as if you're a fat gun owner, basically, you were not on their side either, and they just didn't want you. And if you're going to be throwing under the bus any fat gun owner in America, you're kind of getting rid of most of your customer base, I guess. But it is what it is. They went on about ranting. I don't exactly remember. It doesn't really matter specifically what person it is. The company definitely has this line. Many of these people donated for Joe Biden recently, and they're not, skirmish about admitting this. They threw under the bus Kyle Rittenhouse when he was wearing one of their T-shirts, that they did not support him, and so on. About people LARPing because they shoot guns and wear tactical clothes, I guess, that they took offenses. It's very strange how these people end up with these, they worship themselves, I guess, so much. And I guess that me not being American, I don't see that. I don't understand. I don't even understand when they do the stolen valor thing, like pretending you're something you're not. I don't quite see it. But I do understand that there's especially among the conservative community in the United States, you always put people that served in very high regard, or people currently in the military in very high regard. And, I do that as well, but I do that with a big grain of salt because of all of this. Because after living for a while, I realized that just because someone wears a uniform and just because someone serves doesn't mean that he's immediately on my side. There's a good chance that he is. And usually, some of my best friends are cops, law enforcement, vets, of course. But you have to be careful about this sort of stuff, because this is coming. And this is going to be getting worse. And when people wonder what all of this means that they're going for this clear agenda of the enemy is no longer the Taliban, the enemy is a white conservative American, and that is very dangerous. That is extremely dangerous. And is this lady or guy or whatever the fuck this thing is gonna be kicking down your door? I mean, no offense by it, but really, I just don't even know how the pronouns that you're supposed to. I guess they should put like the little pronoun under each picture, because I have no idea. I don't even care, but these people are not going to be kicking down your door, obviously enough. But maybe a guy like Dan is, a guy like Dan, a younger version of Dan is, or some of these Black Rifle Coffee companies that are so upset about fat gun owners in America and how they only support. Now they change their tune. And now they support only military and vets. And of course, because if this is going to be the new version of what military and vets is going to be, then I completely understand why Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, and all the commies will be supporting the military as well and being very much in favor of it. Because this is changing, and not changing in the way of what conservatives understood the military to be. And even stuff like this, I was just watching Oath Keepers. Oath Keepers is an American far-right anti-government militia organization. I know a lot of Oath Keepers, and they're fantastic people. And it's very simple. Being an Oath Keeper means you're going to be keeping up to your oath about respecting the Constitution and upholding the Constitution of the United States. So usually you will find, especially in our community or in my community, you will find lots of military, cops, stuff like that, people along those lines, people serving in the military or law enforcement, and you talk, yeah, I'm Oath Keeper, upholding, especially the Second Amendment part, which it's Second Amendment and First Amendment in terms of freedom of speech. So you would assume that there's nothing wrong with upholding your oath, which these people actually took, because the Oath Keeper, I always thought, I always thought, especially years back when I first came in touch with folks that were Oath Keepers themselves, I always thought that, isn't that like a little bit redundant? Didn't you just take an oath to uphold the Constitution? Why is it that you have to clarify that you're an Oath Keeper? Now I understand, because those guys already saw that this was going to be happening. They saw that this would be the new version of the institution or structure under which they would be serving. So they knew that there was a need to clarify, I'm going to be upholding the First Amendment, I'm going to be upholding the Second Amendment. And I thought that, that is cute, that is super nice, good for you. I didn't see it, but all of a sudden, just because you're an Oath Keeper, you're a far-right anti-government militia. That is how can you be anti-government? Well, I guess that depends on what the government ends up becoming. But if you are an American, there shouldn't be anything wrong with supporting the Constitution. I mean, isn't that a little bit, well, apparently it's not that obvious anymore. And guys, this is happening. So, it's going to be interesting what keeps on happening. But as of you have to understand that just because someone served, just because someone wears a uniform, doesn't immediately mean he's on your side. Definitely not these days. It's going to be becoming more and more so that he's not on your side. Because these things are just getting more complicated. And if you think that just anyone in uniform works for you, Venezuela has cops and they have military as well. North Korea has cops and military, and you have those in Cuba as well. What is the military and police in Cuba doing? They're just arresting and disappearing people that oppose the regime. So be smart about it, be clever, be careful who you share information with, what you say to people in general. Be very careful, because this, and yes, I understand. This is something I was talking with Jack Spirko, I think, the other day about this. We did a great interview. It's going to be uploaded soon enough about, we have a lot of guns. A lot of people in our countries, people in Venezuela had a lot of guns. I actually knew a guy from Venezuela that was maybe the best shooter I ever came across. I mean, this guy could literally put one hole on top of the other, like I don't know, like 10 yards away. He was like, boom. I don't know if that day he was super good, that specific day, but I was honestly impressed that he didn't just have like a ragged hole of, it was just one on top of the other. That guy was very good at what he did, and he actually ended up working for the government for a while. I don't know if he still is. But that's the thing that happens. Sometimes people are a little bit more flexible, and this great shooter ends up doing things that you probably assume that he may not have done before, because he doesn't want to lose his job, he doesn't want to lose his pension, he's brave enough to do things that you consider dangerous, and yeah, sure, it comes in different shapes and forms, how courage works in different times of your life. All of a sudden, I don't want to lose my pension, I don't want to lose, and what, I'm going to be making a lot more money? Okay, then a little bit more flexible. People are that way, and no matter what uniform you're wearing, you're still people, and this kind of thing happens. So be smart about it. Don't assume things that aren't so. Folks, see you on our next video. Have an awesome day. Take care.